Hello, everyone. Well, I had a few minutes, and I wanted to take time out today before I head home to just discuss some things that have been on my mind and just weighing heavy on my heart. And finally, today I said, I'm going to do this. I'm going to get on there and I'm going to discuss it. So here I go. Today I was having a conversation with two different people about relationships. And it's funny because I've been having relationship conversation with several people for weeks now. In my line of work, I do a lot of talking. I do a lot of counseling, and just I'm not a counselor, and it's not my job to talk, but it's always on my heart to encourage because I always want people to just be the better part of them, just to know that they are of value. And so when people come to me about their questions about relationships, be it if they're in a relationship with their spouse, or if they're going through things with their children, or if they're going through things with their co-workers, or if they're going through things with family members, I'm always looking to encourage. And I'm always asking them to look at yourself, because that's something that we as people, we don't do it on a daily basis. We don't take the time to figure out what's going on with us that will make us better. We talk about it, but it's not something that we put into action on a daily basis. We're not constantly asking ourselves what we're doing to bring us down in our spirit, what we're doing to make it to where people don't want to have conversations with us. What are we doing to push those that we love away? And we're falling into a continuing pattern of being sad, or going in and out of jobs, or just whatever it is that's not get pushing us to our full potential. So I'm always excited to have conversations that might be uncomfortable with people. And, whether it's my children, my spouse, my family member, my friends, my coworkers, sometimes you have to be okay with having those uncomfortable conversations with people to get them to have a better understanding about their self and a better understanding about the other person. It seems to me like people are automatically programmed to be selfish first. And what do I mean by that? What I mean by that is that we're so fixated on ourselves that we forget that we're living in a world with several other people who are just trying to achieve that peaceful happiness that we are trying to achieve. What what we both are failing to realize is that we can't have it if we don't put ourselves in a position to give and take. We can't just take. We have to place ourselves in a position to give. And sometimes giving can feel uncomfortable. Sometimes giving can be lonely. Sometimes giving can be not enough for us, because we're constantly thinking about, I did this for you, I gave you that, I did so much for you, what are you going to give me in return? We are never at peace with, I gave you a solid foundation and I'm going to be happy with watching you grow. That's my reward. That's my payback. Was that I gave you enough to transcend into a better you. And so when I'm talking to people about relationships, I'm telling them that this is the truth that they have to live with. And the one thing that they always have to realize, with everything, there is an end date. Nothing is forever. Be it with our children, be it with our spouses, be it with our co-workers, whoever we decide to start a relationship with, we have to understand that it's going to come to a halt. And it doesn't have to be a bad halt. Like, I'm not saying that everything has an end date to scare people, but because that's just how life is set up. Everything runs its course and then it's over. But while it's running its course, it is contingent on you. And it's contingent on whether what you want to put into a relationship. It hurts me when I see that people start relationships, when they go into relationships with people. And now I'm talking about spouses and friends. When they go into relationships with people and they're playing the chase game, you want to give your all to someone who's looking past you, who's looking the other way. But you find something interesting in them, so you keep chasing after them. You keep trying to get them to pay attention to you, to look at you, to notice you. And this person is constantly running from you. And I see so many people doing this, especially when they get in relationships. They're playing this let me chase you game. And they're being chased themselves, but they don't see it. They don't see that there's someone chasing them too. So everybody's playing this chase game, and nobody is stopping to realize maybe I should look at the person that's trying to get me to notice them instead of looking at the person that's not noticing me. But a lot of us never want the person that's chasing after us. And the thing about that is, have we stopped and asked ourselves why? Why don't we want this person? Because I'm not saying go after the person that's chasing you if you really don't want them, because that's another trap that we fall into. We fall into giving in, just settling for, someone that is just there because they're there, but they're really not what we want. So that leads to a terrible ending. So that's not what you want to do. You don't want to do that either. You don't want to do that. So that all goes back to me saying, reevaluate yourself. Don't be afraid to ask yourself questions about you every day. A lot of people will deem you as being crazy if you wake up and you look yourself in the mirror and you ask yourself, you go back over your week and you ask yourself questions like, what did I do this week that made me a better person? What did I say to someone that maybe would make them a better person? Did I set my life up right? Am I doing the right things that are going to keep me focused and that are going to keep me on track? What steps am I taking to ensure that my future is satisfying to me and to the people that are in my life, that I placed in my life? It's okay to ask those type of questions to yourself all the time. And what I want everybody to realize is that get comfortable with being uncomfortable, because the moment you become too comfortable with everything that's going on with you, that's the moment you kind of slip. You have to be okay with starting conversations that are not always comfortable. And again, you're in a relationship with everybody, and if you want those relationships, you have to constantly do the work. Nothing stays good if you don't keep putting into it. I have never known any plant to continue to grow if it's not treated properly. To every plant there comes instructions and guidelines. And I know that people don't have instructions, and I know that a lot of people don't have guidelines, but people adapt and they readapt and they readapt and they readapt. We have done it for years and we keep on evolving. But it's how you want to evolve. And if you don't replenish you If you don't nourish you, if you don't keep yourself focused and on task, then you're not going to be able to satisfy a relationship with other people. You're not going to be able to be a good parent. You're not going to be able to be a studious worker. You're not going to be able to be an exemplary spouse. You're not going to be able to be any of those things if you don't continue to work on you. You are your own working project every single day of your life. And if you don't replenish you, you cannot and will not be able to help someone else. You just won't be able to. So, for all those who have questions about the relationship, if you have a relationship that failed that maybe you want to get back, have that uncomfortable conversation and let it guide itself into a comfortable spot. And be okay with the answers that you receive. Because the one thing that happens when you have uncomfortable conversations with people